Webcast. My name is Richard Blackburn, and I am an account manager here at Visual, working in the commercial team. And presenting with me today is Daniel Oxborough, who is the team leader for our innovations practice, alongside Tom Hayden, who's one of our software engineers. And last but not least, we have Molly Sutton, who's our visual marketing apprentice. Please, just a bit of web guidance. Can you submit your questions in the iron window? Or if you're dialed in, then please send your requests by email to inquiries@visual.com, and Molly will pick them up and we'll use them through the webcast and at the end in the Q&A. So you're aware, all phones were muted during the presentation. However, we'll unmute attendees during the Q&A, and it's just to help keep background noise to a minimum during the presentation. But while we're doing the Q&A, if you can mute your phones, if you're not talking, that'd be great. But please do pipe up at the end if you have any questions. We really welcome them. The webcast is being recorded and will be published on Visual's YouTube channel. So you can share the webcast with anyone you think may find it of interest. We'll be sending a link of the recording to all attendees after the webcast. Okay, so introducing Visual. Who are we? Some of you may have already been working with Visual, which is great. So you know how brilliant we are, or some of you may have heard about how great we are from others. For those of you who have never heard of Visual, we are the best small business you've never heard of. Essentially, we are a pure play Microsoft Gold partner. And what does that mean, I hear you ask? Well, importantly, Visual is unique in the Microsoft partner community in that we have only ever promoted and implemented Microsoft solutions, or solutions developed by Microsoft partners designed for Microsoft technology. And this basically means that we're a customer-centric company in that we're not driven by the latest margin-busting deals offered by third parties, but we're completely focused on helping our customers leverage the maximum value out of their investments in Microsoft technologies. And Visual's demonstrated this in the last 10 years we've been going. And in that time, we have never, ever sold a competitive product, which has earned us a unique position with Microsoft, as they know we're a safe pair of hands, as do our customers. Furthermore, we have a very, very strong relationship with Microsoft, and this is demonstrated by our relationships at every level within Microsoft, but also in our status as a tier one Microsoft managed platform partner, or a systems integrator, as you might know it. And in addition to this, Visual is treated as a tier one partner across almost all of the Microsoft workloads. And it is in fact easier to list the workloads that Visual doesn't do, which is Dynamics AX, GP, and Nav. That doesn't mean to say we're not planning on doing that in the future. And what does this mean to you? Well, the important point is that we obviously have to demonstrate deep technical expertise in each area of technology. So we have the capability and the capacity, as at least to get gold accreditation, we need at least 4 qualified and accredited professionals in that workload. And adding it up with all our gold accreditations, this means that we actually have the largest accredited Microsoft technical expertise in the country. However, practically for the customer, it means that Visual can utilize any deployment planning services you may have built into your enterprise agreements. And also our status means that typically we qualify for any promotional funding that may be available to help drive innovation that's coming out of Microsoft for things like proof of concepts and pilots, such as Windows 10 proof of concept, for example. Another demonstration of our close partnership with Microsoft is the fact that we are one of very few tier one smart teaming partners. And that has enabled us to deliver over £1 million of services in the last year on behalf of Microsoft. Visual recently won UK Partner of the Year, which is an achievement we are immensely proud of, and it has been something we've been working towards for the past 10 years. I know that Visual is now working towards becoming the Global Partner of the Year, which I expect won't take so long. So, our business, how do we deliver these services? So, essentially, our business is split into 2 arms. With consulting services on the left and support and managed services on the right. So with our consulting services, there again, it's split into two further arms. We've got our business group on the left, which contains our strategic consultants, so our enterprise architects, our engagement managers, our project managers. On the right-hand side, we have our technical practices, where we have business productivity, UCM messaging, cloud infrastructure, and innovations. Now, they are the important information here is that the consultants we have in each of those practices are dedicated to those technologies that are driven in those practices. So, for example, in UCM messaging, we have a number of Exchange and Skype for Business consultants who focus entirely on those technologies. They become deep technical experts in those technologies. They don't drift across into app development and innovations, for example. And the same goes across all of those practices. So the idea is that we have deep technical expertise in there, delivering services for our customers. On the left-hand side with the business group, this is where we can help customers deliver the vision and scope of some business transformation and do business consulting, and then they draw upon the technical expertise of the technical practice to then deliver transformation using Microsoft technology at scale. Now, on the right-hand side, we've got services, and this is a really important part of our business. And essentially, a lot of the consulting that goes on the left-hand side helps to facilitate the transformation to customers adopting managed services and modernizing and becoming much more efficient and much more agile in delivery of services back to the businesses. So that's our business and how we structure it in a nutshell. So IT at the heart of positive change. So we firmly believe that IT is at the heart of positive change, and IT is an enabler for business transformation. And when we go out to see our customers, we invariably just talk about how we can help them transform their businesses with our three business-ready or customer-ready propositions. And these are connected business, end-user computing, and optimized service vision. So if you look at, if we start on the left-hand side, connected business, this essentially is how we help our customers engage with their citizens, customers, or clients, essentially making sure they've got the right information on the right device at the right time to gain a faster time to insight and to transform the way they engage with their customers. And we've got some examples of that. So we've got Scottish Fire and Rescue, where we developed an operational intelligence application, essentially helping those firemen to save more lives through using the whole raft of Microsoft technology, right the way through from tablets through to 365 and Azure services, giving them faster time to insight, giving them the information they need on site, so they can draw plans up before they even get to site and help them to get to site quicker. Another example of that is one of our Premiership football clubs we work with. They're looking at a connected business application to give their sellers a complete view of all of the channels that are available to them. So when they're selling to their fans, they aren't just selling one item. They can then go and sell across their entire channel, their entire business, and it's completely transforming the way that they engage with their fans. And also the key thing here is it's in line with their business objectives, their strategies and initiatives of growing matchday revenue, for example, and improving the fan experience. So down from that, we've got end-user computing, which is all about empowering the workforce. So essentially, this will be mobilization of the workforce in a secure way, enabling flexible work styles. And we've got some good case studies, Essex County Council, Paul Smith, and how we've done this. And this is really, really topical at the moment with the advent of Windows 10 and how that fits in. So end-user computing is a really good fit with Windows 10 and the advantages that brings. So on the right-hand side, we've got optimized service vision. This is the transformation that we talk to IT organizations about with a new business. And this is essentially how we enhance the IT operation by finding the most appropriate and most efficient delivery models for all of your business applications. And this can mean a transformation into cloud technology. Often it's hybrid, but it's basically modernization of the IT service to deliver excellent services back to the business. And we've got a fantastic case study here in Derby City Council, which we signed recently, which is transforming them from an archaic outsourced model, which is costing millions, to transformation to using much more cost-effective managed services. And the optimized service vision consultancy is delivering that transformation for them, and will save them literally millions of pounds a year, and also deliver an innovative model for delivering IT services. So, moving on to the presentation, I've got Daniel Oxborough, who's our innovations team lead, and Tom Hayden, who's our visual software engineer. Take it away, Don.
Thank you, Richard. Today, we're going to run through the functionality and the architecture of Room 365. Then we'll do a demo through the application. We'll have a brief discussion about the reporting and the additional applications that we've produced for the solution. And we'll show you our roadmap and the plans that we've got to enhance the application. And then we'll have the Q&A at the end. So obviously we're all here to do the webcast for Room 365. So what exactly is Room 365? It's a facilities management solution that we've built upon several pieces of Microsoft technology. We use the SharePoint Online for the main part of the application, which synchronizes across from Exchange. And we have some mobile applications as well, which enhance the user experience. And we've got a tablet application, which is also used. The system allows the booking of equipment and catering, and that can be booked through the SharePoint site. And we have approval workflows as well, which allows managers to approve room bookings, equipment and catering, which we'll talk about later. And this system also works across multiple sites in your business. And it also provides rich information about the facilities that are available across your site. So we can have information about rooms, more information about the equipment and catering that is available as well. So from a user's point of view, we've tried to make the system as easy to use and as intuitive to use as possible, with them still using technology that they're most likely used to already in a corporate environment. So the users in general will create a meeting through Outlook. They'll then view that meeting inside the Room 365 SharePoint application. And then they can book their desired equipment and catering through the interface. And that's really the whole user flow for a user. So it's been made to be as simple as possible. So we'll now switch over to do a demo for you. So the first part of the system, we're utilizing the existing Room Finder functionality that is available inside Outlook. An Exchange admin is able to add rooms to Exchange and add these to a list. So as you can see, we have a list of rooms on the right-hand side. This provides free, busy information when people are looking for a room. So this is all functionality that's already native to Outlook. Some companies may already be using the Room Finder, and if not, it's very simple to set up. The user can then find out which rooms are available, which times are available, and schedule their meeting through the standard Outlook interface. And at this point here, if the user does not wish to book any facilities, and they don't wish to book any catering or any equipment, then their experience with the system will end at this point. It will be just as if they would book a meeting at the moment. If, however, they want to book those facilities, then they'll go over to the SharePoint site. So at this point here, the user will send off their meeting request, and then we have a service that sits behind that, which Tom will now explain about.
Yeah, so we have a Synchronized Station service that syncs between the system where you book rooms on Outlook and then synchronizes between Room 365. So you book a meeting, as Dan's just explained, on Exchange. This synchronizes to the Room 365 system on SharePoint. By default, the meeting title and the content is synced across. So We have a configuration option if you wish to desensitize that data. So it's useful if your company directors have their calendar set to private, they're not open. So instead of having the actual meeting content in there, it will just have the meeting title and who's booked the meeting. As you can see on this screen, we've got the meeting that Dan just booked on Outlook. And if we go into that meeting, like so, you can see here, this gives you an overview of when we booked, the start time and the end time, what room it is, and the approval status, which we can see is approved. From here, you can book catering and equipment for your room. So we have two tabs at the top next to reservation information, which is equipment and catering. We look at the equipment side first. Here you can see we have a Surface Pro 3, which can be booked for this room. The equipment and catering is site specific as well. So if certain equipment isn't available for certain sites, it will not display on the screen. So you only get the equipment that can be provided to that room for that meeting here. So there's no confusion or overbooking of equipment. So this displays, so here you can see we can book a Surface Pro 3 out, and if we go to catering as well, we can book a number of catering options as well. Again, this is site specific. So here you can see we can book a buffet lunch or chocolate fountains. We can select a quantity. We can select a delivery time as well, which is quite useful. So if your meeting starts at, for example, 12, but you don't want catering to be there initially when everybody gets there, you want it to arrive, say, half an hour in, you can book the catering at a certain time. You can also specify a number of dietary requirements. So if people have got certain dietary requirements, such as vegetarian, you can put this in here, and then you can save that meeting, send the request off, and it will go to the relevant people.
Okay, so all of the equipment, catering, and room booking systems that we have inside Room 365 also have an approval system and a workflow system that sits behind them. So it is possible to have every single room in Room 365 have a room approver. So you may have certain rooms in your company that require approval before they are allowed to be booked, and you can specify a particular user against the room. That user will then receive information when someone books that room through Exchange that someone wishes to book this room, and that approver can then approve or reject that request. And we have the same thing for the equipment and catering as well, but that's on a site-by-site basis. So we can have an equipment manager and a catering manager, and those two managers, they can also be groups as well if you wish to have more than one person to be able to do the approvals for those two systems. When a user books a piece of equipment or books a catering, a task is created inside SharePoint, the email is sent over to that particular manager, and then again the manager can approve or reject the request that's been made to them, and those emails will go back to the user as well. So this is the sort of email that you would get as an approver. So if someone, for example, I did an equipment request here, so it comes through to the user and they have the ability to accept or reject the equipment request. So they'll click on this link here. This will take them back inside the SharePoint, and they can then approve or reject it from here, which will then produce an email back to the user. For example, on the screen here, this then produces the email back to the user saying that their equipment has been approved. We also have the ability to do automatic approvals and rejections as well. So if your particular rooms don't have approvers, then they can be automatically approved. So on this particular appointment that I made earlier, we don't have approvers for this room, so this appointment was automatically approved. You're unable to make equipment or catering bookings until the room has been approved. So using the automatic approval system when there's not an approver is the best course of action. For equipment and catering bookings as well, we also have the ability to do automatic approvals and automatic declining. So if a user decides to book a piece of catering, for example, on the same day that their meeting is occurring, and by default that's not possible for you to be able to order catering that soon to a meeting, then you can specify a distance, a number of days before the meeting at which catering must be submitted, otherwise it will be automatically declined. Okay, so the system is also used to provide a rich amount of data, and Tom will discuss that for us now.
Yeah, very briefly, I just want to look at the calendar where we are now with the My Reservation screen. So from here, you can see the reservations that you've personally made and the meetings you've booked. We also have a all reservation screen as well, which lists everybody's meeting and all the rooms available and all the rooms that are booked there as well. So if we just get back to the My Reservations screen that shows our own personal bookings, as you can see on our calendar, we have a room color key in the bottom left-hand corner, which is quite useful if you've got a number of rooms and you want to see which rooms are booked out, and to see which rooms obviously your own meetings are in. Down on the bottom of the screen as well, we have a number of rooms and a number of bits of information. This is a configurable list at the bottom. This can be displayed how you like it with what you like on there. At the moment, we have rooms on there. So you can see we have the snug, a boardroom, and another presentation room, which are a number of rooms that we have here in Visual. So if we type in if we just very quickly go into the day view, which Dan has very kindly done, you can see that you can actually go in to the specific day and see which meetings are booked within the hour as well. So here you can see that we've got a view from 7 a.m. all the way through to the end of the day. We can see that we've got 2 meetings. We've got a webcast, which we're in now, booked at 10 o'clock. Then we've got Dan's other meeting at 12:30 as well. So that's quite useful to see, not only if there's multiple meetings being displayed on the calendar, you can then go into the day and see exactly when those meetings are as well. So going back to our rooms from that list that was on the calendar. We have a list of rooms, and as Dan's just gone into the snug, this is one of our country rooms in Visual. Very, very nice, very, very comfy. Here you can see that we've got quite a nice photo of it. We've got different properties of the room as well. So we've got what site it's on, the building and the floor and the capacity. We also have a floor plan, which is quite useful. And we have a list of standard equipment. Now, this equipment here, you can click into, and you can see the specifics of that equipment as well. So if we go into the Samsung TV that Dan's just clicked, you can see very similar to the room layout that we've just looked at. This provides, again, a title and image and different properties of the equipment. It also provides the ability to view instructions as well. So here we have a link for an instruction manual for the TV. So that's quite useful if you've got users that are booking rooms that have got pieces of equipment in there that they're not quite familiar with how to operate, or may worry about how to operate. It means that you can see the manual and it may help you out. It's also worth noting as well that in the room, in the room entry, we also have the ability to change the color that the room displays on the calendar. So you can change the colors to your liking if you don't like the current color of the room, or if it needs to be changed for a reason. You also have the ability to see the approvers of that room as well, so the people that can approve the requests that come into that room as well. If we look at the catering as well, very similar to the room and the equipment, very, very similar list. You can see here we've got a number of different catering options. And as you can see on the right, there's a catering site option. So very similar to the equipment where it's site specific, the catering is also site specific. So as you can see, we've got 2 buffet lunch options here, but one of them is for Parker Court in Stafford and one of them is for London. So looking at the chocolate fountain, which is the site in London, you can see here we've got a number of properties, which is just providing information. Chocolate fountain with 3 different fruits. Pretty nice. I'm quite hungry myself. Obviously, quite a nice image of it, and the cost and the site for it. Looking at equipment hire as well, similar to the rooms and the catering that we've just seen. It lists all the options available and the equipment and what site it's at. Going into it again, gives you a number of properties, gives you the type of the equipment, the picture, the condition, whether it's working or not, how much it would cost, the site it's on, and again, similar to the TV, this gives you an instruction manual for the user to walk through if they need to. So that's our rooms, equipment, and catering within the Room365 system. Now, coming out of here, we also have a reporting feature. We have facilities reporting. So we have the ability to view reports in Excel. This doesn't require any additional licensing. That's Power View for Excel. We also have Power BI reporting. Now, this is a feature that would require an additional license should you wish to utilize it. So these reports, we are able to provide catering reports, equipment reports, and also additional reports if they're required, they can be created. So if we branch over to the Excel reporting side of things, you can see Dan's just brought up the catering orders in Excel. This is just a simple report that shows you the number of catering bookings or the amount. So you can see for one of them, we want 2 buffet lunches and 4 chocolate fountains for a meeting room. Obviously, it lists the delivery time, the start time, the end time of the meeting, what site, and whether it's been approved or not. We also can show equipment reports as well. So here, very similar. You can see that we've got Surface Pros for meeting rooms, 2 different bookings. One's been approved and one's been rejected. It's the same for Power BI as well. Very similar reporting features as well. So here you can see for catering in Power BI, we've got a number of catering bookings here. Again, list the type of catering booking, the amount of the room, the delivery time, when the meeting starts and the meeting ends, and whether it's been approved or rejected. That's our reporting side of things. Dan's now going to go and talk about the applications of Room 365 as well.
Okay, so that was the main system as a whole and how the system sits together and the reporting facilities that are available for it. We have also created some additional applications to help improve the user experience and to give generally more access to the Room 365 system when you're out and about. So we have a Room 365 mobile application, which is on the Windows Store now. And this allows you to view and manage facilities against your reservation. So you see all of the same information that we had inside SharePoint inside your mobile application. We also have the viewer application as well, and this is a tablet application, and it's designed to sit outside each of the rooms on your site and provide information about the booking that's currently in the room, and also allow dynamic bookings from the room itself if the room is free. We're also in the process of developing additional apps for Office applications, and this is an application that sits in OA and Outlook and allows you to do more functionality with Room 365 directly from Outlook. We'll just switch over to showing you some of the applications. Bear with me 1 minute while I just log back into the machines to show you this. So I'll show you the mobile application first. So I'm just running this in an emulator at the moment. And as you can see from the mobile application, we have the meetings that I've booked for today. So it shows the user who's logged in meetings, and it's using your corporate login. So your AD login is used to log into this, and it connects directly to SharePoint. So the user would need their permissions inside SharePoint to allow them to connect in. And as well as reservations, you can see all of the similar information that we were showing earlier on the main site. So we've got, again, we can go into the snug, and we can see all of the information that was available on the site. We can actually see in here as well. So the user has all of that information at their fingertips on their mobile device. And again, as we did earlier, we can look at more information about the television that's in there, and we can again get hold of the instructions directly on our mobile if we wish. So the same facilities, equipment facilities, and catering information is also available through the application. And the other ability that we've enabled through the application is if you go into your particular meeting room, rather than having to necessarily go to the Room 365 website, you can also book your equipment and your catering directly through the mobile device as well. So as you can see on here, again, I can select a buffet lunch. This is the meeting I had earlier, so I've already got the buffet lunch selected, pull that information down from SharePoint for me. And I can specify the same information that we had inside SharePoint. So that's the main functionality that we have that exists inside the mobile application. And just behind that, this is the Room 365 viewer. This application, as I mentioned, is designed to sit outside of each of the meeting rooms on a tablet. and it displays a timeline of the meetings that are currently in that room. So as you can see, I can click on here and I can see a meeting preview of each room that I'm in. So this was the meeting that I booked earlier. And I can have a look at that meeting room as well, and you can see who's currently holding it. The background color here will change between green and red, depending on whether the room is currently in use. So it's very easy to see at a quick glance whether a meeting room is currently in use or not. And it also gives you information about when the room is next free. When the room is free until, and who it is next booked by. You also have the ability to book a meeting directly through the tablet as well. So if you're in search of a meeting room and you're wandering around your rooms, you can type in a meeting title, you can select the length, and you can book that directly through the application. And what that will do is that will add that into SharePoint, and then our synchronization service will also sync that back up into Exchange, into the calendar for that particular room, and it will actually then book out the room for the length of time that you've asked it for. All of this information and images on here are customizable, so you can change the banner at the bottom, and you can change the colors as well, so that you can make it integrate with your corporate logos and your corporate style. So finally, we just come on to the roadmap at the end. So we've been developing room365, and we've got more ideas of more enhancements that we would like to add to the system. So this is our roadmap of things that we're planning to add in the future. So at the moment, you can only make your room bookings directly through Outlook, and you have to use the Outlook Room Finder functionality. But we would also really like the ability to allow users to make those bookings directly through the SharePoint interface as well. So your users could actually do everything through SharePoint rather than having to flick between Outlook and then go into SharePoint. So we would have a pre-busy system in there, and with the ability to book your meeting and your catering all in one go directly through the SharePoint interface. And we would also like to extend that into the mobile application as well. So giving the users the ability to see what rooms are free and book those directly through the mobile application. We're planning on enhancing the reporting as well. So although we have some nice reports there for the equipment manager and the catering manager, so that they can see what equipment or what catering they are going to be needing to order and provide, we would also like to be able to provide room utilization information as well. So users can easily see what rooms are being utilized, what's not being utilized, and that report can be available to whoever needs to see it. As I mentioned earlier, we're currently in the process of creating our apps for Office application. So that's the Outlook integration that I've got on the roadmap here. So that will allow you to book your meeting room through Outlook as you currently do, but also book your catering and equipment at the same time directly through Outlook. So in fact, you would be at the point where you wouldn't need to use the SharePoint interface to add your additional facilities to your booking. So in the end, we'll be able to have both a system where you can do everything through Outlook, and also the system where you can do everything through SharePoint. So it's entirely up to your user as to which option they wish to choose. We would like to enhance the searching as well. So this would allow integrated searching from within SharePoint. So you can find rooms that have a particular piece of equipment that are available. You could find rooms of a particular size. You could search for rooms in a particular building at a particular time. So rather than having to look for them yourself, you can use the search functionality to specify the parameters that you want to search for, and it will bring back a list of rooms that are matching that information. At the moment, we have equipment and catering booking built into the system, but we would also like to add the ability for users to add their own facilities. So if there's additional facilities that may be needing to be booked for a particular meeting, that those can be added without having to produce a new release of the application. So you would be able to add those as custom facilities to for booking. And we would also like to enhance the Room 365 viewer as well. So the ability to have a check-in button so that when a user comes into their meeting, they can press a button on the front of the tablet to say that they're in their meeting. And if they don't do that, then the room will be released and someone else can use the meeting room instead. And that just helps to improve utilization of rooms as the rooms, when they're not actually being used, are released back into the pool, as it were. And I think that's everything that we've got to the show.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's in a timely fashion. Catherine's actually posted a question on IM. My users want the ability to see a timeline for a group of meeting rooms, one row for each meeting room. E.g., you showed a timeline for meeting room 1. The users would want the 5 meeting rooms of one site to be shown on a timeline for each. Is that feasible? Which we should probably unmute everyone at this point. Molly?
Yeah, so it is actually possible at the moment to see a timeline of a particular list of rooms within Outlook. So the Room Finder functionality allows you to select a room list, and you can see all of the rooms in that room list just as you would in your normal Exchange calendar, and you can see that information directly in there. And again, that would be another nice piece of functionality when we allow people to do the bookings directly from SharePoint. This sort of view would be added in there as well, the searching facility and the booking facility directly in SharePoint. But it is available through Outlook at the moment.
Catherine, does that answer your question? Have you got audio? It's gone very quiet. If anyone has any other questions, please do speak up or post them in the IM window. Oh, she's trying. Okay, pretty much everyone's showing as unmuted, so should be able to hear you, but we haven't got anything at the moment. Okay, Gavin's got a question. Would it be possible to externalize this facility so that we can provide this to our customers and partners? That's a really good question.
The system at the moment requires a login through Active Directory into your SharePoint instance and to Exchange. So unless those particular external users had that ability, they wouldn't be able to log in into the SharePoint site. But it's certainly something I think that's worth thinking of and worth adding to the roadmap. Definitely.
Yeah, and obviously, Gavin, when it comes to federation services and all that kind of infrastructure, we've got expertise in that through our cloud infrastructure practice, and if it is possible, we'll be able to do it. It's just a question of finding out exactly what you want and designing it for you.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now. It's worked.
Right.
Yeah, it's because we hire out rooms to councils, the police, people like that, and it would take quite a bit of workload in a useful way away from the administration team. So they wouldn't have to be stuck on the phone taking these bookings. They could just get people to at least do simple elements of the booking remotely, and then they can deal with actually booking the room or whatever. So
yeah,
so the way around, it's just something that's reasonably basic that can be provided by a website.
Yeah, it's an interesting requirement. I think essentially then it's a self-service element, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That would be really cool to add that in as standard functionality, and that's something I guess as part of this as well as this this application develops, the standard functionality be available to all. I think that's the point of this modern way of developing applications. We're only looking to support one version going forward, so it's a case of switching on and off functionality. So if we were to develop it for one, it will be for all, which I think is the way to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Tim asked the question. Are you there, Tim?
Hello, yes.
Hi. So are there any plans to include meeting documents, paper perhaps, linked to users' OneDrive? Can you just expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we've never really found a suitable replacement for meeting workspaces. So that's something that we as an organisation got quite well embedded with our PAs when they were organising meetings, etc. So I can see how this room booking functionality is, along with a suitable sort of replacement with any of the 365 technologies, so that you can book the rooms and you can actually, so the papers are part of the collateral of that meeting. So you've got the room booking, that's great. So I suppose it's a bit like booking so we wouldn't necessarily be that interested in the catering element, but if one of those buttons was the papers, let's say for the board meeting, those kind of things, so you can include other collateral.
Yeah, so like document libraries, for example.
Yeah, so, and that could link off to the, the PA's OneDrive, etc., or multiple OneDrive. So it just pulls resources, so it's more collateral, really.
Yes, so again, that's a really interesting requirement. I don't think it's something we considered previously, but obviously that's something we could look at and probably include in the solution. We just have to design it out and build it.
Okay.
How does the meeting know what collateral belongs with it? How do you currently link those two together?
Well, I suppose if we take users are very comfortable in Outlook today, in Exchange, so they would, they even to the point of even if they book if they use the team site and book a meeting, an event by that team site calendar, there is still a preference to just include those documents, to attach documents.
Okay.
So it's good from a team point of view, and obviously that could scale out from, to everybody in the trust or just those specific users. But it still feels very sort of old school.
Yes.
It's basically how they used to work in Exchange, to taking that experience across to SharePoint. And obviously with Yammer and all the rest of it, there's got to be a better way of doing that. And as I say, meeting workspaces was quite, it wasn't perfect, but it certainly seemed to be a way forward. And of course that was taken or depreciated in 2013.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's certainly something we can look at.
Definitely.
Certainly, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So Gavin's come back with one more question. Are you there, Gavin? Gavin, are you there? Talk to me. I'll speak for him anyway. So how would the system deal with potential duplicate meeting requests? He says he's had a bad experience previously with Exchange having problems with this.
Okay.
I'm here now.
Oh, are you there? So he's saying in the past you've had people double booking rooms and...
Yeah, I mean, I've got to admit it was 2007.
Yeah. Well,
but, we had a bit of a problem. We had a lot of scripts built into Exchange, and it used to do sort of auto attendance. So you'd book a room, and it was supposed to stop you from booking if you've got a duplicate, but it didn't. So we used to get people double booking rooms a lot. So I just wanted to make sure that was catered for, really.
yeah, so inside the current version of Exchange, as you mentioned, I think we're on Exchange Online here at Visual, the Exchange in 365. So you have the ability to specify whether meetings are automatically accepted from the Exchange side of the system. So this is the meeting that I did earlier. We have all of our meeting rooms set to auto accept unless they clash with another meeting, at which point they're automatically rejected.
Yeah.
So from an Exchange point of view, you should be able to use that functionality to help avoid clashes. And as I said, this is the meeting I created earlier, and you can see that I got an email back from Exchange saying that my meeting was accepted. So we use this functionality here at Visual to help us avoid crashing appointments. So hopefully, I don't know what version of Exchange you're on, but maybe that functionality is a bit better now in the later versions of Exchange than when you were seeing it back in 2007.
Yeah, we're on 2010 now, so it's probably works a bit better. We haven't got it set up, so that's fine.
Yeah, and with the enhancements that we're planning on making, with using the SharePoint side of things, this functionality would still exist as well. So if the user created their meeting through SharePoint, it syncs it back up to Exchange, and as it does that, the same rules that apply as if you create your meeting directly in Exchange will apply to this, and it will tell you if there's a clash or not, and it will reject it back to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Has anyone else got any questions they'd like to ask? Speak now. Anyone?
Hi,
Catherine.
Yeah. Sorry, I've unmuted now. We have one of our sites. We have something like 10 meeting rooms, and the receptionist keeps an eye on those, and she does tend to do quite a lot of juggling around. So people might book a meeting room, or she might have a meeting room booked, and then something happens, things need to change, and there's a sort of domino effect after that. And currently we're using Exchange, and she is dragging and dropping meetings around to get people fitted in. Is that, and when we've spoken to her about replacement functionality from what she's actually using, because we're having problems with the syncing. Anyway, so when we've spoken to her about replacement facilities that she wants, that is one of her key requirements. So what options, or are there any options that you're considering for that?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, in the SharePoint view, you've got my reservations, but also all the reservations.
Yeah, but it won't be. It will be all her reservations. I've shown her that SharePoint view, and she does not like it. She says she cannot. She cannot use that view, because that's a view I've offered her or a similar view that I've offered her from SharePoint, because she says she can't then work out who's where. So she would need what she likes is in Exchange she has one, or in Outlook she has a calendar for each meeting room shown, and that's what she wants to replicate.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the screen here now. We're presenting.
Yep.
But the items in green are the different rooms, so they're the calendars.
Okay, no, you've changed. I can see the timeline.
Yeah, are you seeing the Outlook view or the SharePoint view?
The Outlook view.
Yeah. So you see we've got Daniel on the top row, and then we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meeting rooms.
Yeah.
They're in Visual House meeting rooms.
Yeah.
So you can see that that's the 17th. That's all of the meetings for the 17th of September.
Yeah.
In there, so you can move things around in here if she needs to juggle things for the for everyone. And that is part of the idea. It's not just an individual's meeting room booking system. It's designed to support someone who's managing the rooms for everyone.
Yeah. So how moving stuff around from in there? How do you do that? is it just drag and drop? And will all their other things go with them, like their catering and?
Yeah. So with regards to what changes in SharePoint and how it syncs across, every meeting inside Exchange actually has a unique ID in the Exchange system. So we use that to match the SharePoint. So if there are any changes made to the meeting inside Exchange, whether it's moved, then that's also synchronized down with the sync service into the SharePoint system as well. So that information about catering and equipment bookings for that particular meeting is not lost.
Okay, so if we take I don't know, the team meeting that you've got in meeting room 1 from 9 till 10 something, if you had to move that to the Vanivar presentation room, what is it, just drag and drop? Or
yeah, I think you would need to use a slightly different calendar view. So you can add additional calendars directly into your main view here, and I think you can change the view so that it's a schedule.
Yeah, well that's what she's using at the moment.
Okay, so she uses this sort of view at the moment, does she, to drag and drop them around?
Yes.
Yeah. So from an Exchange point of view, I think that's probably the most useful view that you'll have in order to make those changes. From doing it from a SharePoint point of view, all of the things like the calendars inside SharePoint, they can be customized and they can be changed with how they display information. Our current system doesn't support the ability to sync information back from SharePoint into Exchange if you try to move any of these appointments around. But with the roadmap and wanting to allow people to book things through SharePoint as well, that would then automatically become part of that functionality, that if you make a change inside SharePoint, it would get pushed back up to Exchange, so it would work both ways. So you could create a custom calendar view similar to how it works in Exchange, for your user to drag them around in that particular way. But I don't think they'll ever be able to get away from that particular view of having to try and do that, to drag and drop things around. I think that's probably the easiest way of seeing an overview of multiple meeting rooms.
Okay.
I guess the other thing is, obviously, we're looking to develop this product on an ongoing basis, so all of the customers get more value out of it, but also gain confidence in it. It's possible for us to set up a demo system for you, so that your users can try it out, so you can gain confidence in it that it's going to work for you, and that's something we've done for another customer, and that, I believe, lasts for 90 days. So you get plenty of chance to schedule in the time to have a play with it and make sure it meets your requirements, and take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Has anyone else got any other questions? We've got 4 minutes if anyone wants to add anything. Anyone else? Okay, I think that's it. I think unless anyone's got any other questions, I think we should wrap up. All that remains is to thank you all for attending today. It's been really good, and thank you for all the questions. It's really, really valuable, and hopefully we can work with you on some of those requirements that you've made. So thank you very much. As I said before, Molly's putting out links to the webcast. If you have any questions, then please do contact us, and we'll do our best to answer them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you.